Hello and what is up everyone, welcome back to another video, and this is going to be a longer replay commentary video and a bit more advanced as well. I hope that this video will be able to help you out, as the concepts in it is pretty important for playing Dota, especially in this patch and the last patch. I noticed that things haven't really changed that much in terms of what it means to get map control and make space for your team so you can farm and then scale on for later. But again, this might not help you too much in terms of playing pubs, but maybe later on when you're playing battle cups or 5-stack with teams or teammates, friends, this will be very useful in terms of how you want to distribute farm and make space for your cores and try to respond to the enemy team on how they're doing the same, right? So I'm going to head right into the replay, and we're going to start from the laning stage to the mid game and close out the game there as to the reason why I lost this game. And again, a background on the replay, this was a game 3 in the grand finals of the open qualifiers for the Summit 8. I made it all the way there with a team that literally formed 20 minutes before the registration or the check-in time for the qualifier, so I thought we did pretty good. Unfortunately, we weren't able to win and get to the regional qualifiers, but let's head right into the replay now and check it out. So a lot of this replay I will be focusing on my player perspective and what I'm doing. So a little bit about this top lane from the enemy team. They picked the Ancient Apparition as well as the Winter Wyvern, and primarily this was to counter our team where we had a lot of healing with the Dazzle and Abaddon and a lot of physical damage as well with TA and Wraith King, and I wanted these two supports to deal with us later on in the game. However, they're fairly weak in the laning stage. I like to say weak, but that's not really 100% true, because they're actually quite strong when they have these two abilities up, right? Chilling Touch as well as the Arctic Burn. With these two abilities, they pretty much can dominate the lane, but for them, it's on a very long cooldown, a 50-second cooldown for both of these abilities. And in the bottom lane here, we made a bit of a mistake as too many heroes actually TP down here. So this leaves Sven open in the top lane. The reason why we did start as an aggro tri-lane was to put as much pressure on Sven as possible so that he would be forced to jungle. And this is going to allow us to have more space elsewhere on the map, because we don't have to worry about Sven free farming, in addition to having potentially stacks created by their supports in the jungle. But now that we TP three heroes to the bottom lane, as well as have our Dazzle take a ton of damage here from the Beastmaster, we're actually in quite a troubling position, because now their supports, they no longer have to be top, because they saw that everyone pretty much TP'd bottom and they can sit here near mid. Fortunately for our mid player, I did place a ward here right where the supports would be and spotted them out. But they made the right move here, and they realized that TA felt like she knew what was going on here. She was playing very safe to the right side. So instead, they smoke up and go to the top lane and take out our Abaddon. And now, pay attention that he did walk all the way top from the bottom lane, but because he did that, because he TP'd bottom, even though we got a kill onto the Beastmaster, the Sven was able to get about a minute of free experience and farm, so he got a full level advantage over him. In addition, the Dazzle went bottom as well and didn't have a TP. He didn't have the HP either, because he tried to mess with the Beastmaster here, or I don't know if he tried to mess with the Beastmaster, but he walked into the Beastmaster here and got taken down very low. So imagine if it was Abaddon Dazzle in the lane right now. When that gank came, it would have been a different story, because I would have been able to charge in as well. We could show 3, and it potentially might have been a really great bait. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and we just lose Abaddon. But now I'm going to go back in, and again, we want to put all 3 heroes here, supports and Sven, in the top lane. If there's 3 heroes here, this means they can't stack, and their other option is just to hold on for long enough so Sven can jungle, just sack the lane, maybe just put 1 support there, and have them play very safe in the trees. And notice here, even if that we had a bit of a bad time, we fed a couple kills, we can still turn the lane around. As long as the Arctic Burn and the Chilling Touch is down, we don't really have anything to fear. As you see there, Zifri, the Abaddon, gets a triple kill. Really well played there, and we shut down the Sven. Unfortunately, I don't think our carry player was that comfortable in the Beastmaster and Wraith King matchup. And of course, Beastmaster is a very strong hero right now. I think he's a top hero. We had other heroes that we wanted to worry about, so we couldn't ban him out. But he definitely would have been on the ban list if there weren't these other heroes that we had to worry about. That Blue Pikachu played really well. Blue Pikachu is the dire team, and for us, we don't really have a team name. But yeah, Beastmaster gave us a lot of problems this game, and towards the mid game, I'm going to be focusing on him a lot. But for now, I'm focusing on the safe lane. And again here, we're getting kills in the safe lane. This is a very strong aggro tri-lane. Unfortunately, we just misplayed it from the start, so we're just slightly more behind than we really should, which will affect us a lot as the Beastmaster, after getting that solo kill onto Wraith King, is having a very good time bottom. And now this means that he is a threat. Notice that we already TP'd 3 heroes bottom to save Wraith King once, and now even the Necrophos is heading down in the bottom lane. And what is this doing for Blue Pikachu? This is putting pressure off the Sven. Sure, he still can't farm top, but now he can go jungle. This is exactly what I said he would do. Once he gets to a certain level and with enough items, he just really needs the Morb Mask and the Mask of Madness eventually, and he almost has it. He can just go jungle, ignoring the top lane. He doesn't have to deal with the Abaddon or the supports rotating in. And now all their pressure can be put in the bottom lane, and there is no chance that we invade their jungle. Abaddon's not really a hero that can go into the jungle and invade, especially with the shrine being placed here now in the 7.07 patch. So what we can do is, or in terms of our options as a team, is fight bottom lane. We have to make sure we defend this bottom tower. Notice this is putting space on the map for the rest of the team, right? Beastmaster doing this, hitting our tower, is forcing our heroes to be in the bottom lane to deal with it, because we don't want to give him a free tower. If you look in the top lane, his Abaddon is a bit under leveled. This is something he could be doing. Abaddon could be mirroring Beastmaster's actions right now, but because of inefficiencies like TPing to the bottom lane and things like that, not starting out the lane perfectly as well, they also put a lane ward that we didn't deward, and they dewarded our ward. And keep in mind, if one side of a tri-lane dewards a ward, that's a huge experience swing. It's literally 100 experience, and that's half a level at level 1. So our tri-lane versus tri-lane wasn't the best, and now Abaddon, this is huge. I'm gonna pause it right here. Abaddon TPing to the bottom lane here to fight again is actually a huge mistake from our team, because it is forcing the Beastmaster back, but this is exactly what he wants, right? He doesn't want to actually take this tower. The only reason he's doing this, because the safe lane tower doesn't matter that much. He's pushing in the bottom lane to create space for his team. He could care less whether or not this tower actually falls. And eventually he will actually get it, because he's a Beastmaster. He can slowly chip down the tower with his units, especially once he gets maxed out Call of the Wild, which he does have right now. He could spawn those 3 creeps with the Hawk, the Boar, and the bonus creep, the support animal, I like to call it. And he just goes ham on the tower, slowly chips it down. But the main reason he's pushing is to force us down here. And the fact that he forced Abaddon, a hero that I said could be mirroring his actions in the top lane, and either force the enemy to come defend top or let the tower go, which if they do let the top tower go, this is going to allow us an opening into their jungle to invade a little bit easier and mess with the Sven. But now that Abaddon TP'd to the bottom lane, all Beastmaster has to do is, you know, try to get away. I think he will die here, but even his death is worth it. So he indeed does go down. Necrophos comes in here, attempts for the kill onto me. He does get me, not being able to kill me with the ultimate, however, because the Aphotic Shield came out. And notice what the Necro is doing as well. He's running at our team. There's 4 enemy heroes down here, and the reason they're doing this is to create space for Sven. They know Sven will be the hero that carries their game. He had a pretty bad start, and if they don't do this, we're going to do the same to them, right? Let's say Necrophos is just farming mid. He's just sitting mid, farming with the TA. He's not accomplishing anything on the map, and we can do the exact same thing. Let's say Beastmaster wasn't pushing bottom. He's just static farming the lane or jungling because he feels afraid of dying, right? Because he did die there, but he's not accomplishing anything on the map. So if the Beastmaster was jungling, making the safe play, not putting his life at risk, the Sven wouldn't be able to farm the way he is right now. He's able to farm the lane because the rest of his team is pushing in and just running at us. And because of how the laning stage played out, they came ahead slightly in terms of experience and farm. They're going to be able to fight us and come ahead slightly, but not kill us. Notice, he mostly got out alive. It was a 1-for-1 trade. Theoretically, that was a better trade for us, right? If you look at it, you're like, oh, we traded a Beastmaster or we traded a Spirit Breaker for a Beastmaster. That's a win, right? But no, I say it is actually a huge loss because Abaddon had to TP to this bottom lane. He doesn't want to be down here. He wants to be in the top lane, messing with the Sven. You notice here, Sven's actually even afraid and goes to the mid lane where he feels a little bit safer because he feels like after this gank, we can TP top and go mess with him. But instead, we actually go bottom again and fall right into the trap because this is exactly what they want us to do. Mess around in this bottom lane against these pretty difficult heroes to kill. Because again, Winter Wyvern and AA are fairly strong heroes. With Chilling Touch as well as Arctic Burn, they can send in a lot of damage and harass. And even if they don't get the kills, they can at least force us back to base or force us back. And you notice here, with 4 heroes here, a dominant force placed in the bottom lane, I get roared. A good play for me, it gets me out. Because they don't have any stuns with the Necrophos ultimate on cooldown. So I'm baiting a lot of space here, but look at what the rest of my team is doing. I TP out. Where's Abaddon? Abaddon is just still sitting in our jungle. There's no place for him down here in the bottom lane. Imagine if he was top right now with the Wraith King pressuring this tower. We could be trading a tower right now, but unfortunately, I don't think we ever even take the top tower in this game. Because now that the bottom tower is dead, they don't have this obligation to take this tower anymore. They can't really work towards the tier 2. So they're just going to be able to defend top. And meanwhile, notice what Sven is doing. He's continuing to farm up. And the only hero matching Sven's farm at this point on our team, if you look at the net worth, will be the TA. But Sven is starting to accelerate. And notice in that time that Abaddon TP to the bottom lane, how much farm that Sven was able to get. Before, we were looking at him, and he really only had the Morbid Mask, and that was around when he was farming near the shrine. And now he has the full Mask of Madness as well as Treads. And with these sets of items, he can farm incredibly quickly, especially with these ancient stacks that his supports started to make for him, right? And they just started stacking now because they realized, all right, we took the bottom tower, we secured map control in this bottom lane, and now Beastmaster with his new Hawk. And again, I think Beastmaster's new Hawk is pretty overpowered. It moves around very quickly and it's very hard to kill in the early game when you max out the ability first. And we're going to continue to replay right now and see what happens, right? So Wraith King had to be forced back from the top lane. Only one hero needed to be up here, and now Necrophos, he doesn't really have to be afraid. He's fairly hard to kill. He's a very good pick against Spirit Breaker, and he was their last pick. And in this game, I think that we partially lost because of outdraft, but I think we definitely could have played better, and it would have gave us a fighting chance rather than losing the way we did. Because again, if you look at the enemy heroes, they're losing heroes in the bottom lane here, but they're totally fine with this because they're keeping the Abaddon down here. We'd rather have the Abaddon in the top lane doing the same thing and pushing in towards their tier 2 after taking the tier 1. But if you look here, the tier 1 barely even took any damage when the Wraith King was pushing in. And in addition, we lose the Abaddon as well, as TA wanted someone to stack Ancients for her, so Dazzle was unavailable to be here. And now it is just a messy game for us because Sven is able to farm up some Ancient stacks. I believe there was a 2 stack for him from the supports, and then he stacked up 1 himself as well. And now he just farmed that triple Ancient stacks. He's building towards the Sanjay Yasha, and once he gets that, he can accelerate his farm speed and get super farm past our TA. And notice our TA is keeping even, but unfortunately, I think that TA is not going to be able to scale as well as the Sven in this game because of the enemy heroes and what they have. They have Roar to deal with her. They have the Cold Embrace. If they really need to, they can Winter's Curse, either the TA or someone else, and she'll just straight up kill them. And AA is a bit of a problem as well because it secures their burst. So let's say they roar into the TA, they hit her with the AA blast, they can just secure that she gets bursted down, she can't blink away or get a refraction off or a meld dodge or anything like that. So with the state of the game right now, the Beastmaster will peel off away from the bottom lane a little bit because he realizes that we're sending 3 heroes down here now. We have really good ward to deal with this, but unfortunately, I think the heroes need to be reversed right here. I think that Abaddon needs to be in the top lane because he could put real pressure onto this tower. He doesn't have to be afraid of dying that much. Again, Wraith King doesn't either, but he doesn't do that much tower damage. He can just try to summon the skeletons here and chip on the tower a little bit, but with the Necrophos here, just by himself, he can defend because of the farm that he has. He has the full veil, and he can just always push out the wave, and he's never really afraid of dying. Again, Necrophos is a very, very, very good hero against Spirit Breaker, and there's really not much that I can do to him. I'm never going to charge the Necrophos pretty much. He's never going to be a kill, and I pretty much have to play in the bottom lane. That's the only place I can be right now. And the enemy is continuing to put pressure. They have the Winter's Curse now, as well as the AA Blast. And with 2 heroes in the bottom lane, they're keeping 3 heroes down here. So this is what I was talking about before, about map control and space creation. So with 2 heroes here in the bottom lane, they're creating space for the Sven, as well as Necrophos. Because Necrophos is pretty much free farming top, and Sven is just combing through the jungle. And now they're going to force an additional hero down here in the TA. And I do think we eventually get a kill here because of this nice ward. The Beastmaster gets a Shadow Amulet and goes invis, and we will be able to chase the Winter Wyvern down into the trees. But again, they're actually completely fine with heroes dying here in the bottom lane. We're getting kills, but it's committing 4 heroes for a support kill. And are we going to be able to push in towards the tower bottom? Potentially, but we're not even going to attempt it. And because we're not putting any real gank pressure on the map on any of their cores, like the Necrophos, and the reason behind that is partially because of our picks. We really have no kill potential onto Necrophos. I'm going to try to charge him now, and I think we do kill him, but again, we're going to have to commit a lot, and this is going to be a trade in favor of putting tower pressure. We're going to go for a kill, and I think Necrophos as well is fine to die here for his team because the Sven is still farming up. And we will get the kill on him here. We have to commit a decent amount for it, and we find the Beastmaster as well. Sven will actually come in on the backline and kill me as well as Wraith King, and I'm pretty sure Wraith King dies twice here. So that trade wasn't even worth it really for us at the end of the day. AA Blast is coming in as well. Oh no, Wraith King does manage to get away because of Abaddon's heals and Aphotic Shield. We do manage to dodge the AA Blast as well. TA is going for another kill here onto AA. I think he did solo kill him once with a DD. But again, notice the amount of towers that they have just in the bottom lane here, and the amount of damage they're able to do on our towers. Mid lane has taken a significant amount of damage just with catapults and creep waves pushing in compared to their mid tower, which is not that much healthier, but a decent amount healthier. Their top lane tower is a little bit less than half HP, but it's fairly healthy as well. It's not in danger of falling anytime soon. And we're gonna enter another pause here. I can skip through it as we enter a little bit of a lull at this point. But if you guys notice the net worth right now, it is gonna be about 5k in the favor of the Dire, and this is all because of the space that they're able to give the Sven. Notice that he shot up significantly ahead of the TA because TA did TP to the bottom lane, which diverted his farm pattern a little bit, because he went all the way down here, only got a Wyvern kill, didn't get much more. In addition, they're also blocking our Ancients, and we haven't been stacking the bottom Ancients at all because of all the space that Beastmaster gave them in the bottom lane, right? So our other option was just to ignore Beastmaster, put faith in our TA, and just farm up, stack up Ancients and get her as farm as the Sven. But the problem is it's not going to get us anywhere in the game, because I feel like TA is not the greatest pick here, as even if she gets equal farm the Sven, one bad team fight and that could be that for us, and they definitely have the heroes to do so. As I mentioned before, they have the Beastmaster with the Roar and AA with the AA Blast, and they can just burst her if she ever gets out of position in a team fight. So we're going to continue to replay right now, and the reason behind this 5k net worth advantage that Blue Pikachu has is because of what they're doing here right now. Winter Wyvern in the bottom lane, constantly forcing the wave in. We don't really want to be here bottom, right? We want to put other heroes and put pressure on the mid lane, put pressure on the top lane. But because of this constant creep wave pushing in bottom, someone always has to be here, otherwise we're going to give a free tier 2. And it's actually a huge thing if you can get a free tier 2 off of just creeps pushing on the tower. So notice now we're realizing, alright, it's a waste of time for us to continue playing on here in the bottom lane. We're just going to leave it as a dead lane. And when I say the term dead lane, I mean it as just no one's going to come to the lane pretty much unless the creep wave is pushing in too hard, and even then we might just let the tower go, as there's more important places to be on the map rather than trying to just deal with this Winter Wyvern here. But notice what the Winter Wyvern's allowed to do though. Because of how the early game played out, the Winter Wyvern can just sit here forever and just keep blasting this wave. He can do that for as long as he wants because he's not really necessarily needed by his team because of how strong his team is. So his team doesn't need him immediately. A TP and coming in a little bit late to the fight will suffice in terms of his team fight contribution. But for the most part, he's being more useful to his team just sitting down here and constantly pressuring them the wave and forcing the Wraith King to be down here as well. Otherwise, we're just going to lose this tier 2. So notice they're going to put 4 top. Winter Wyvern's going to be down here, and he can do this for pretty much forever. He doesn't really get to join his team, as his team is strong enough to fight without him. The Necrophos has a 4-staff now, which will help his survivability significantly, as well as the Sven having the Sanjin Yasha, as well as the Blink. He's definitely in fighting shape right now, where if you compare that to her TA, she's not really ready. I feel like she's not able to fight until she gets a BKB because of the enemy lineup, but we try to fight anyway, and notice what happens here. They immediately go onto the TA. She gets a very nice meld dodge off, but fortunately our Abaddon will tank the rest of the gank and he will go down. So it's a 1-for-0 trade. I survive as well, but Beastmaster moves forward aggressively, gets the roar onto TA, doesn't manage to kill her, as they will miss another stun because of the meld dodge. But now Wraith King is forced up here in the top lane as well. But is that going to allow us to defend the top tower? No. The enemy is just way too strong at this point. Sven has hit his timing, but if you compare his net worth to the Wraith King, he's about 3k ahead. And in addition, Sven is just able to fight a lot sooner than a Wraith King can in terms of just having these core items. With these 3 core items, he's incredibly strong, especially with the Inner Beast aura from the Beastmaster, and in combination with the rest of the heroes that are fairly bursty as well, with the Necrophos having the Reaper Scythe as well as the Ice Blast. They can pretty much secure a kill onto any of us, except for the Wraith King or the Abaddon, of course, because of their ultimates. And that's part of the reason why we did pick these heroes, Abaddon and Wraith King. But I felt like we went a little bit overboard with the Wraith King pick. I don't think that we needed both of them. I think one hero was enough in the Abaddon, and we could frontline with him and push down waves. So that's kind of how you want to play with the Dazzle, is to get a little bit of early game advantage, because he's a very strong laning stage hero in combination with Abaddon, and then we're able to just weave everybody and run in and focus down towers. And even when we die, we're creating enough space, but it has never gone to that point in this game. We haven't taken a single tier 1 yet, and this is huge, as the mid tower did fall as well in the meantime. So now the enemy has 3 tier 1s while we have none, and this is when we're going to feel the effect of the enemy taking over our map. So notice they asserted the dominance in the top lane with Sven's items. He had his core items, and they pushed in, they used their ultimates, and they were able to take our tier 1 top. In the meantime, our tier 1 mid fell, and of course, if you remember, the Beastmaster was messing around and did take down the tier 1 bottom, as well as do a lot of damage here to the tier 2 with just the split pressure from Beastmaster, as well as Winter Wyvern pushing in the wave. And notice now that the Winter Wyvern has a Midas. So the effects of taking map control at this point is not really apparent on your cores, but it is very apparent on supports, because they've secured early game map control with the Beastmaster while our Abaddon didn't. I'm going to be incredibly poor on the Spirit Breaker. I've never had a time to farm the lane or anything like that. I was constantly having to deal with pressure from the enemy team or forcing fights, baiting hero spells and abilities, and I do have the most deaths on my team right now, but it is really only because I'm the only hero that is getting anything done on the map. So if I'm not charging in, I'm not doing what my hero does, the enemy is just going to free farm all their heroes, are going to take map control, and they're going to start picking off people. Because if we just let the game enter a state where everyone is farming, so notice that is exactly the state the game is in right now. Wraith King is farming one lane, TA is farming the ancient camp, and Abaddon is farming the jungle. Notice what happens and how the enemy can abuse this. So this is, if not the only thing you get out of this video, this is very important, and you should pay attention closely to what happens next. So as I said before, we are farming 3 heroes, and what does that mean? The enemy is eventually going to be able to pick us off. We're actually going to kill them right now, because I don't know what the AA was actually doing here. He had an Invis rune and he just walked in. It's a bit silly. Is this even a real ward? No, this is a sentry. So a little bit of brain fart there from AA, but then it didn't really matter too much. But here's the big deal here. So we attempt Roshan, which I think is very important for us. So everyone gets weaved up, and the enemy is in position to fight here. AA is not quite alive yet, but we realize that we need to get something done. The enemy is really far ahead, and if we don't continue to make something happen. So I charge in here into 3. Unfortunately, there was a Beastmaster right there. We did have equal vision with them on the high ground here, but the AA Blast was able to hit onto our Wraith King. He's not able to respawn. The big deal there was the Winter Wyvern actually got the curse onto our Dazzle. So now we just straight up lose 3 heroes, and the enemy is going to get Roshan. And this is what it feels like to play at the 20-minute mark, not having a single tier 1 with a, in my opinion, worse late game lineup. There's no way we're going to be able to match up against a Necrophos with a Radiance. Because again, I said before, if we just slow the game down and start farming 3 lanes, they're going to pick us off for sure with the heroes that they have. Beastmaster and AA, as well as the Sven with the Blink Dagger. At some point, someone is going to die, and even though we have the Abaddon and the Wraith King, it's too late at this point because they're still going to be able to burst us even through the ultimates, as you saw there. Wraith King had 2 lives, but he didn't survive for much longer. And the fact that we also went for these Midases forced us into this engagement that we felt we had to take, otherwise the game was just going to slip away from us. Because if you notice the net worth graph now, TA is still keeping even with the Sven, but as I said before, it doesn't feel very even in terms of TA having the same net worth and Sven having the same net worth. Sven just feels a lot stronger, and he's able to do a lot more burst damage, especially against our lineup where they have some save abilities. We have save abilities as well, but with the Sven being able to dish out that cleave damage and us having a lot of melee heroes with Wraith King, Spirit Breaker, and Abaddon, which kind of play in a similar pocket at least, especially with the Spirit Breaker. I charged it in, and you saw how fast I just died there to the Sven, and that's going to pretty much happen every single fight. And again, I can imagine what happens if we don't take that fight and how we would have lost anyway, right? So this fight looked really bad. We lost 3 heroes. They got Aegis as well, and it was the straight up reason why we did lose the game. But at this point, I felt like the game was almost in an unrecoverable state because our late game was straight up worse. The Winter Wyvern was getting incredibly farmed. He had a Midas, and Winter Wyvern alone, with his ability to get this space on the map to farm, was going to carry them the game, right? So we felt pressured to make something happen, and again, it was a mistake by us, but at the same time, if we let the game play out without trying to do something, the Winter Wyvern was just going to get farmed. They're going to take over even more map control. They're going to start picking people off, and they're going to be able to get Roshan anyway with the map control that they have. So again, what you want to take away from this is to make sure that if you have pressuring heroes, such as an Abaddon, or it doesn't have to be a pushing hero like Abaddon, it could be a ganker as well. The reason why Beastmaster is so good, because he not only provides vision, he also is able to gank, and he is also able to put split push pressure. So he provides 3 roles. While Abaddon, he's very good at saving people, and he's good at staying alive. He's very survivable, more so than a Beastmaster, but he doesn't provide vision, and he doesn't really provide any ganking potential at all. And he didn't utilize his strengths. Whereas if you look at Blue Pikachu, they definitely utilized their Beastmaster strength. They used Hawk, they provided vision, allowed them to set up for ganks as well as go for our towers. They took our top tower, they took our bottom tower, and now they've secured map control. And now with the BKB onto Sven, he's pretty much untouchable. He can blink into our team and kill pretty much anybody. And at this point, we're in a very bad situation. And there's not much we could actually do, especially with the Radiance as well coming out on our Necrophos. That's going to be a counter to our TA's Refraction, and we're in a bad spot right now, honestly, guys. And there's not much we can do. I think we actually just lost the game right now. We can hope for a miracle tower defense, but because of a slight out draft, as well as how they played their draft in this game, they're going to be able to take over the game fairly easily at this point with this first Aegis. So going back to what our team really needed to do if we wanted to win this game was utilize our strengths, because they utilized their strengths and we didn't utilize our strengths. So what our heroes were good at is being very survivable, as well as having global pressure with the Spirit Breaker and 2 lives on the Wraith King, as well as having a fairly strong stun with the Wraithfire Blast. It's a good ability, good for initiation. But what we did was we went a Midas on the Wraith King into an Armlet, so he had no initiation potential. In addition, the Abaddon was forced down into the bottom lane because of Beastmaster, where I think the right play probably was just to ignore the bottom lane, leave it as a dead lane a lot earlier than we did, and just focus on putting pressure top, invading the jungle, blocking the enemy ancient stacks. But all the pressure that the Beastmaster did, we just got baited into it in the bottom lane. We put too many heroes down here, and it just wasted our timing window where our heroes were strong, where we could have just weaved, ran down towers, bought an early blink on the Wraith King instead of the armlet. Just have him initiate and start fights, and even if we're dying, right, we have 2 lives on the Wraith King. Abaddon pretty much has 2 lives as well, so we definitely can put pressure on the enemy side of the map. But now it's coming too late. The enemy's gonna come in, start hitting our racks, and there's absolutely nothing to do. Our racks just melt with the Necro 3 on the Beastmaster, as well as the Sven ultimate, and we're gonna try to take a fight here, but not much is gonna come of it, and we pretty much lost the game at this point. So there's not much more really to say about the game or what's happening in the game right now, but there's a lot that can be said about how the game played out and why it got to this point. And a lot of it had to do with this Beastmaster and how the supports played in the bottom lane. We really should have just mirrored their actions if we want to utilize our heroes to their full effect, but instead we got baited into coming down here in the bottom lane in an inadvantageous situation, and we just wasted a whole bunch of time where Sven was just free farming, Necrophos was just free farming as well, and they're just able to get to this point where they're unkillable. Our heroes don't scale as well, sure, without the same amount of farm or more farm, and we just lose the game. So that's pretty much all I have to say for this replay analysis as the game is closing out here. But again, if there's one thing that you take out of this video, it's make sure that if you have a hero that creates space for your team, or can create space for your team, and you have a very heavy farmer such as a Sven or an anti-mage, you have to make space. So what does that mean? It's if you have a pushing hero, run at a tower. If you have a ganking hero, just gank, right? Don't overcommit. As you noticed, they didn't overcommit to anything. When our team ran back near the shrine, they backed off, right? So it's a bit of a push and pull. It's not the fact that you're getting kills that is getting you ahead, as a lot of Dota players think, right? I'll just get a bunch of kills. We'll get a bunch of kills. We're just going to dominate the enemy team, and that's how we win. No. A lot of Dota is about getting farm on the map and securing map control, allowing you to get kills, allowing you to get like ancient stacks off, farming the jungle, pushing the waves in, as you saw the Winter Wyvern was able to do down here. So without map control, you're not going to be able to get kills. You're not going to be able to even farm properly, and you're not going to be able to win the game. So it's not about the kills, but it's about what the kills give you. I say that if you get kills, but it doesn't allow you to get any objective on the map, such as, you know, securing wards down, or taking a tower, taking Roshan, pushing the waves in safely because the enemy heroes are dead and you don't have to worry about being ganked, the kills don't matter. And that's what can be tactical feeding, right? If you die, it forces the enemy out of position. They commit, now maybe not even any ultimates, they just commit their time to kill you, but they can't really get any tower off of that kill. They can't push in the waves, and they can't secure any objective like Roshan. It is actually worth it. It's advantageous for you to die in that position there. But at this point, we will call GG and the game is over. So remember, make space for your team, and that doesn't mean run at the enemy team and try to kill them. Oh, alright, we're killing them and we're making space, AM's farming. But if you're all dying for it, that's the opposite, right? If you're all dying, it's going to allow the enemy team to secure and regain back map control. It's okay for 1 or 2 heroes to die, if that's the case, but don't overcommit to a point where you're like losing 4 heroes, and then AM's like, what the heck are you guys doing fighting as 4? It's okay to commit and push, right? Push in, force enemy rotations, come back, but at the same time, be able to pull away. So notice the enemy team here. They pushed in the bottom lane, as you paid attention with Beastmaster. Even the Necrophos came in as well. They lost the Beastmaster, they got the counter kill, and then they took that trait and backed off. They didn't overcommit to that fight. They didn't force anything, right? They lost a hero, but they got a hero in return, and they backed off. And that's creating space for their Sven. It's a trade, of course, but it's an advantageous trade because we're committing a lot of our heroes' time, whereas the Sven is farming, and of course RTA was also farming, but as I mentioned multiple times, that the Sven just outscales TA with, you know, pretty much equal amount of farm. If the TA is not ahead, she really doesn't fare well against the Sven. But That's the one thing I really want to emphasize in this video. I hope it has helped you guys out. Again, this is not necessarily for pubs too much. Again, it can apply to pubs because of what I said before. If you have an AM and he's gonna carry your game, you have a hero that's gonna straight up carry your game no matter what. He scales better. You know that you will win the late game if this hero gets farmed. You need to group up as 4 heroes or 3 heroes and just make space for him. And that doesn't mean running in and feeding. It means forcing the enemy rotations, maybe getting a kill here and there, but the kills are not what matter. The hero rotations and getting them out of position is what matters, because let's say you force heroes to TP to the lane you're pushing or the lane you're ganking in, they're not going to be in your anti-mage's lane, they're not going to be in your Medusa's lane, and you can protect her farm that way. So that's going to be it for the replay commentary as the game has ended. I hope this has helped you out, and make sure you leave a like down below if this video has helped you out. I'm getting distracted by my Steam messages right now. And also subscribe, because again, I'm making this content pretty much every single day. Sometimes I'm double uploading as well, so stay tuned for more content. And this video is a more broad video. A lot of my videos so far have been focusing on 7.07, but this concept applies to Dota as a whole and will never really go away, right? The concept of securing map control and taking space will always be something that is, intertwined in Dota and how the game plays out. So this video will help you as well in future patches and pretty much forever in Dota 2, unless something crazy happens. But I don't see that happening anytime in the future. So again, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope to help you out, and peace out. See you all in the next one.